St. Thomas area first received water, the city of St. Thomas themselves first received water in a municipal supply in 1890. That plant operated, providing the city through wells and so on, and then again it was expanded and a filtration plant was added in 1931. This specific location was constructed in 1966, and at that point in time the city of St. Thomas did not take water, but the plant was erected basically to provide water to the Ford Talbotville plant. In 1972, the plant was expanded and a filtration plant was added, and water was then provided to the city of St. Thomas, the village of Port Stanley and Vienna, and surrounding townships. And the St. Thomas plant, municipal plant, was dismantled at that time. The highest usage time of the year for most water treatment plants in this climate are in July and August, when the heat of the summer, there's a lot of lawn watering, which adds to the usage. People are out washing their cars, they're doing various uses with their water. The lowest time of year that water would be used are in the winter months, in January, February, and so on. That's the lowest time of year because of the climate, basically. This plant, on an average day, produces approximately 43,000 cubic meters per day. We were running at about approximately 50% capacity, a little over 50% capacity. The ultimate capacity of this plant right now is 74,000 cubic meters per day. So there is a fair reserve for the operation and for future growth within the area municipalities. Okay, the other sources of water that could be available are, in specific to this operation, is there's a standby well for the city of St. Thomas that provides water on an emergency basis. The standby well is tested on a monthly basis so that they have a suitable supply. The reasons that type of supply might be required if we have major power failures in the area where this plant is out of commission, then they can work on that standby well, plus reservoirs that are available at St. Thomas to keep them through the interim of that emergency. Throughout other municipalities in North America and around the world, there are alternative treatments that are available to provide water. Groundwater wells, which are used in a lot of communities. There are desalination plants which are used in different parts of the world where fresh water is not available, and that type of process. This is the start of the treatment process for the water system. This is our low-lift pumping station where the water comes in from the lake. The water can be of varying qualities as it comes in. As you can see, the turbidity of the water is very high at this point in time due to the wave action on the clay shorelines. This is part of the problems that we have during certain periods of the year. Also, in the wintertime, due to the ice conditions and so on and the coldness of the water, we can end up with fragile ice conditions, which is a formation of needle ice which takes place in the process and can blind off our screens as the water is coming in. This pumping station has a capability of pumping about 40 million gallons a day, and from here it goes up into the treatment plant where it starts into the treatment coagulation process. Okay, this is the water treatment area. The water comes in here into the treatment area where the process of treatment takes place. Basically, the process that takes place in this area is the coagulation, flocculation, sedimentation, and then later on it goes through the filtration process. At this point, the chemicals are added to the water. We're adding
alum, which uses a flocculant to put an electrostatic charge on the particles of dirt that are coming in from the lake, and it causes them to electrostatically stick together, and in this process and then in the sedimentation to settle out. Along with the alum, we feed a polymer which helps that process along. We also feed at this location a powdered activated carbon, which is used to remove any tastes and odors that may show up in the water due to algae conditions or other conditions of that nature in the lake that tend to impart either fishy tastes or musty tastes and odors to the water. After leaving the treatment area, we're now in the chemical feed area where the chemicals are metered out to provide the treatment process the required chemicals. This is the alum feed system here, where the alum is metered into the water to provide the coagulation and flocculation process. Along with that is a polymer which is added from another system to enhance that process. Over on this area over here is the powdered activated carbon system, which is used for taste and odor control. What powdered activated carbon is a carbon-based substance which is in a very fine powder with a very large surface area, which attracts the taste and odor molecules that are in the water, and what it does is that it binds all of the taste and odor components that are in the water into itself, and then that carbon with the taste and odor is settled out in the sedimentation section and also filtered out in the filtering process to clarify the water. The other chemicals that are added in the treatment process, we add fluoride for fluoridation of the water, which is a protectant for dental care, which helps reduce the amount of cavities and so on that occur in children as they're growing up, and also protects your teeth as you age. The disinfection process, which is another chemical process, is chlorination, and what it is used for is for removal or killing of all of the bacteria or pathogenic compounds which may be in the water at the end of the treatment process. And that completely removes any pathogens that are done in that process. From there, there's a sampling program which I'll mention later on in the process. Okay, this is the filter area of the treatment process, which happens directly after the coagulation and sedimentation section, which we've been at. The filter system is set up with 4 filters in the plant. This is a typical breakdown of what a filter looks like and how it works. The bottom of the filter has a porous plate in the bottom, which all of the filter material sits on top of. Sitting on top of the porous plate is a layer of approximately 18 inches of stone and then another 12 inches of sand and another 18 inches of anthracite coal. The filter process, the water after the treatment process is brought in by gravity on top of the filter, and it filters down through that, and any fine materials that are left in the water are taken out at that point. And it flows through the filter into a reservoir underneath the filter area. In order to clean the filters after they have been in use for a number of hours or days, the raw water is cut off on the top of the filter, and the clean water, which is in the reservoirs, is pumped back through the filter, and it agitates the material in the sand and anthracite area and causes it to scrub itself and washes all of the dirt out of the filter, and it goes back to the waste line, which takes it back to the lake. From here, we'll go to the actual filter and see the filter being backwashed and what that process looks like. Okay, this is the actual filter operation. As you can see, the water is starting to drain down in the surface drains, and it's going out to the main plant drain. From here, the water will start rising on the filter as the pumps come on and start pushing water in from underneath. And as that water comes in, the dirt in the filter will start rising up out of the filter. It takes approximately 200,000 gallons of water to wash one of these filters. During the wash process, one of our operators will wash down the surface of the filter for any scum and so on that builds up along the sides of the filter during the running time. This is the pipe gallery area that's down below the filters, where the water that goes out through the backwash and so on comes down through and out through this drain pipe, which goes back out to the lake. This area is basically the end process of the treatment process, and from here it goes into an underground reservoir and then into a pumping area where it's pumped out into the distribution system that goes out into the various municipalities that we serve. This is the final step in the process. This is where the operations staff monitor the complete treatment process, right from where the lake water comes into the process right to the farthest users in the City of London. The monitoring equipment here and process operational equipment here control all operations through the treatment plant, and the operator can keep track of what's happening in the treatment process, as well as operate treatment equipment. This screen that's over on this monitor here gives a sort of a perspective of the whole process, and it monitors the complete operating system in the process. From this point on, once the water leaves this plant, it goes through the distribution system and eventually shows up at your tap in your home.
Sewage treatment is required so that the health of the community is protected, so that the environment is protected, and so that disease-causing bacteria does not enter our water systems and cause us all to be sick. At one time, there was actually no sewage removal. Sewage was just dumped directly into a receiving water course, and thereby polluting the water so badly that people became very, very sick. It also would ruin the ecosystem, where fish and other animals in the ecosystem would die. Other than sewage treatment plants, there are sewage lagoons and septic systems. Really don't, know too much more about that. They're just a... That's really, for the most part, you would say that sewage today is really treated mostly at sewage treatment plants. And it's just like very small communities use such things as lagoons, and very rural areas use such things as septic systems. A storm sewer actually allows rainwater to flow from streets and from city streets into the receiving stream. Sanitary sewage systems transport the sewage to the plant. St. Thomas got its first sewage treatment plant back in approximately 1910. From there, that was called Plant 1. That would service a very small community. As the town grew, as the city grew, Plant 2 was installed back approximately in the 1950s. Plant 3 was installed in the 1960s, and Plant 4 was installed in the 1980s. The plant itself services an area that encompasses St. Thomas and portions of Yarmouth and Southwold townships. And of course, as the city grows, also the plant will grow with it. Actually, the sewage itself is consistent throughout the year, which is called a dry weather flow sewage. The actual flows coming into the plant will vary according to how much rainfall there is in the area. During the summer is our lowest flow periods, and spring and fall is our highest flow periods. The amount of sewage that is processed at this plant per day is approximately 18,000 cubic meters. Training involved for the operator today is that each operator must be certified and licensed by the province of Ontario. Further, the city of St. Thomas requires that any new operator entering the plant must take wastewater treatment plant courses. There are presently 8 operators at the St. Thomas Sewage Treatment Plant, and all are licensed and certified. This will be a tour of the wastewater treatment plant for the city of St. Thomas. This is where the sewage enters the plant, and this is called the screen room. And the larger particles of sewage get settled out, get screened out in this room. Sewage flows from the screen room into what this is called a grit tank. And this removes sand and small stones and freshens up the sewage. Sewage flows from the grit tank into these primary settling tanks where it is slowed down, and the larger solids are settled to the bottom as sludge. Also, floatables are removed in this tank, such as grease, and they're skimmed by these top skimmers into a trough at the back of the tank and removed to landfill. By settling solids in this tank, approximately 40% of biological oxygen-demanding substances are removed here in this part of the process. The settled solids are then pumped from this tank, from the bottom of the tank, into our digestion process. The sewage then flows from the primary settling tanks into these activated sludge tanks. It's called activated sludge because it's teeming with biological life, bacteria basically, that removes up to 95% of the biological oxygen-demanding substances. It's an aerobic process, which means that air has to be introduced into the system to activate the bacteria, to remove the sewage. Air is introduced to the aeration tank using very large blowers which pump approximately 4,000 cubic meters per hour of air into the system. The activated sludge, or mixed liquor as it is referred to at times, flows from those tanks into these final settling tanks where the mixed liquor is separated from the water. The mixed liquor settles to the bottom of the tank where it is returned back into the mixed liquor tank to maintain a healthy biological system. As more sludge settles from the water becomes clearer and clearer, and at this point, about 95% of the biological oxygen-demanding substances have been removed from the sewage. Okay, we're still at the final settling tank, but we're at the effluent end of it. And the sludge has now separated from the water, and the water flows over these effluent weirs. At this point in the system, up to 98% of the sewage or biological oxidating demanding substances have been removed from the water. And you're now left with the clear, sparkling effluent. which is going to flow into the receiving stream, in this case being Kettle Creek. As you may have noticed, at the beginning of the plant, the color of the water was a very dirty looking gray, and at the end of the plant you have a clear sparkling water. From the final effluent weirs, the water is now flowed into what's called a chlorine contact chamber. We chlorinate the water to remove pathogenic bacteria from May 15th to November the 1st every year. Pathogenic bacteria means that the bacteria are disease-causing, and it's very important to kill off those bacteria before they get into the receiving stream. Chlorine is contacting this water for approximately 20 minutes, and that's been determined sufficient time to remove for an effective pathogenic bacteria kill. This is the final stage of the process, and from here the water flows into the receiving stream, which in this case is Kettle Creek. These are our effluent outfalls. Obviously this is where the water flows into the receiving stream, which is Kettle Creek. This water flows to Port Stanley, into Lake Erie. During high flows, high creek flows, when the water level comes up above our outfalls, there is a check valve in the plant, in the piping system, that prevents the creek water from backing up into the plant. Approximately 20,000 cubic meters of water are treated in our plant daily, and that's what flows into this receiving stream. At the beginning of the process, the sewage flowed to a primary settling tank. What settles in that tank is primary sludge, and that sludge is pumped into these large vessels here, which are called digesters. This is an anaerobic process, the process being without oxygen. The primary sludge is broken down here into what is called methane. The digester has got to be heated to maintain a bacterial population. The excess methane gas is used to fire a boiler, which in turn will heat the digested mixture. Excess gas from the system is burned off in a flare stack. The sludge volume from the primary settling tanks, after it is digested, has been reduced by about 50%. And objectionable odors have been removed from the sludge. The sludge is removed from the digesters to our sludge handling process, where it is centrifuged and large amounts of water is removed from the sludge to produce a 20% sludge cake. From there, the sludge is applied to farmland, where it is used as a fertilizer.